way before the King James, the Geneva Bible was out. King James banned the Geneva Bible. And you say, wait a minute, if the Geneva Bible is such a good book, why was it banned? If you can figure out anything that might cause a king not to want to have this out, put on the whole armor of God, that you may abide to stand against the assaults of the devil. For we wrestle not only against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. Sounds pretty familiar so far, right? And against worldly governors who are the princes of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. In fact, if you read the instructions, you find out that they left out a lot of things. The true meaning of baptism, the true meaning of what the church is. And the reason why they did it is they wanted to be able to control the people. They wanted to say that the government is divinely empowered and that the church you got to listen to, and of course he controlled the church. 1910 talks about some of the real purposes of the King James Version, and it's not what you were taught in school. About 65,000 plus changes in the King James versions to some of the New Age versions. There's 20,000 changes from the Geneva to the King James. So you kind of get the idea that they're trying to change everything around so it means something totally different. The Rothschilds. Their goal was to control the world through controlling money. Care who the government is, let me control the money and I will control the country. The king, when America was started effectively corporations or trusts. Who owned America to start with, or the part that was under English rule? The king. It was his own personal property. And he could license you to be able to get minerals and do this and do that as long as you paid your fair share. But the king literally owned the whole country, other than what France owned and Spain and those kind of things. The real reason for the Revolutionary War. Very interesting. Not what you were taught in school. Here's a few quotes from William Manley German in a speech to the House of Commons, December 1913. The Rothschilds' Bank caused a bill to be introduced in the English Parliament, which provided that no colony of England could issue its own money. Thus, they had to use English money. The colonies were compelled to discard their money and mortgage themselves to the Rothschilds' Bank of England to get money. Then, for the first time in the history of the United States, money began to be based on debt. Benjamin Franklin stated that in 1 year from that date, the streets of the colonies were filled with the unemployed. Franklin later claimed this was the real cause of the War of Independence. This is according to Benjamin Franklin. The colonies would gladly have borne the little tax on tea and other matters had it not been that England and the Rothschilds Bank took away from the colonies their money, which created unemployment, dissatisfaction, and debt. We heard this nasty rumor that we won the Revolutionary War. Ain't true. We did not win it. The last battle that was fought, Cornwallis surrendered the battle, not the war. Proof? About 1 year ago, this document, it's called the Definitive Treaty of Peace between Great Britain and the United States, signed at Paris, 3 September 1783. It had never been in this country before that. This is what really, really, really happened. It having pleased the divine providence to dispose the hearts of the most serene and most potent prince. This is somebody that lost a battle is a most potent prince? I don't think so. George III, by the grace of God, listen to this. Here's his titles. King of Great Britain. France. Who did we borrow the money from that helped us win the war? We thought France. Now we owe that money to the King of England? Interesting. Ireland, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire. Treasurer of the Catholic Church. Find out the parties of the treaty is this guy named John Adams, comma, Esquire. Does anybody know where you go get an Esquire title? England. I don't think we gave them out. Benjamin Franklin, Esquire. John Jay, Esquire. These were all people who were titled nobility in England who were negotiating this treaty. And do you know what the treaty really said? The treaty really said it's agreed that everything that England and the people of England and the king and whoever else owned and any obligations that existed before this treaty are still law. The king still owns it. The king still owed all the money. Nothing changed, except we could govern ourselves theoretically as long as we paid the rent. Where did that show up in the Constitution? This document actually required us to form a Constitution, so we did. And so, where did it show up in the Constitution? Here's a couple places. Section 10. States shall pass no law impairing the obligation of contracts. Oh, so we still owe the money, so the land's still the king's. That's right in the Constitution. Snuck that one by you. Or grant any title of nobility, which means the king is still the one that puts all the esquires. You read in the Constitution, it says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. No, it doesn't. It says the Constitution and treaties are the supreme law of the land. The thing that people don't know is what treaties. And the answer to that one is in a law case called Hamilton versus Eaton, 1796. And guess what it said was the most supreme law of the land? The definitive treaty. There's a second Constitution. Oh, guess what? You are not a part of it. Little court rulings like, oh, the Second Amendment doesn't apply to you. That's right. You know why? You're not a party to the contract, nor were any people parties to the